Early morning in Zagreb. Wait, wasn't this video supposed to be about Aljezur? Well, it is actually, but the thing is we woke up in Zagreb in Martinhal holiday resort and we're heading up to Aljezur, so life's all about the ride, man, so you got to come and enjoy the journey with us. If you want to skip over to Aljezur, well, just check in the chapters on the right hand side and you'll just skip through, but for now, enjoy the journey.
Can't say that, it's just not a...
Nice, kiwi's great. Alright, so we just had breakfast at Martinhal, which is a fantastic spread. It really is an amazing experience. Eaten far too much. But now we're heading up to Aljezur. I mean, we're probably going to check out Arrifana, which is one of my favorite beaches on the west coast. And if you'd like to understand all about the west coast beaches, I do have a video on that, so check it out. Cool. We'll see you in Aljezur. So Mo, you're going to ride that thing all the way back to Aljezur?
All the way, bro.
Oh man, be careful you don't get blown off by this wind.
Oh, that bike's heavy enough.
When the Moors founded Aljezur proper in the 10th century, I would imagine that many of them may have had similar feelings to modern-day foreigners exploring the region for the first time. Feelings of excitement at the new vistas that are revealed with every hilltop that glides away behind you. New paths leading to secret beaches nestled in amongst the grand, bold cliffs, surging up to the sky. Feelings of fear as to how they're going to manage to live in this new land, how they're going to be able to interact with existing people in the area. Look, there's a spaceman.
Not many more going on. There's a lot of locals and fishermen here in this cafe. But
Oh, this is quite a common thing in all these small towns, the Centro Cultural.
the Clube Cultural e Recreativo Os Amigos da Carrapateira.
So Carrapateira is a cute little town, but this is the village which is just a little bit set back from the ocean. And if you just get over the rise, there's a beautiful beach and a river running through it. And so if you want to have a nice little holiday house close to the beach, this is actually a perfect place to go and find an old ruin and then regenerate it and build it up. So we headed on up the road towards Arrifana and just had to go right into Aljezur, turn left, and then head to Arrifana Beach, which is this stunning bay carved out, and it's actually very well protected. I just threw in some old drone footage here because it wasn't this gorgeous on the day we went. It was pretty wild and windy and big swell, which you'll see right now. This is just designed to give you an overview. It's one of the most popular surfing beaches on the west coast, and it's great to swim as well. One quick tip, this restaurant called Restaurant de Praia, which just means restaurant on the beach, is the most incredible location. I've never eaten here, so I can't recommend it or not, but it looks pretty good from Google Earth. They got a rating of 4.1, quite a few good reviews. Food's great, a little bit expensive, but as you'd imagine, right on the beach, and what spectacular sunsets. So if you go down there, if you've been there, let me know how it was. I'd love to hear your experiences. And maybe one day I'll get down there. Aljezur and the region as a whole had been inhabited since 7000 BC, and naturally Portugal has been existing as one of the oldest nations in the world for over 880 years. So whether you were a Moor arriving in the 10th century or a foreigner arriving in the 21st, similar senses of wonder may overcome you. So as you can see, our journey from Sagres and Martinhal up to Aljezur took about 40 minutes. It's about 40 minutes directly to Lagos from Aljezur as well. 1 hour and 10 minutes to get to the airport in Faro. If you want to drive up to Lisbon, it's about 2 hours and 50 minutes. It's also not just about driving. You can get a bus to Aljezur. The trains don't work super well. You'd have to connect from Lagos up by bus to Aljezur. So the train line in the Algarve goes from Lagos all the way east through Faro to Villarreal Sant Antonio and doesn't reach fully the west coast, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we just arrived at the castle. I'm going to talk to you all about the history of Aljezur and the surrounding areas. All right, I'll show you this castle. It's amazing. It's quite well kept, but we'll talk about all the history in a second as we go through this. Nomadic tribes hunted or fished in the region up to 9,000 years ago, which supplemented their diet of roots. Tough life, isn't it? I mean, settlements started only appearing around 2000 BCE, which is before the Common Era, or BC, before Christ. But the first real attempt at civilization in recorded history came from the Berbers, or the Moors, in the 10th century as they expanded across Iberia. Now, this very castle was originally constructed by them, and many of the place names around here are taken from that time. Aljezur was taken from the Moors in 1249 by Paio Perez Correa, the master of the Order of Santiago, and he had experienced a lot of military success here in the Algarve, as I've spoken about in a couple of my other videos, especially the Villarreal Sant Antonio video. In the late 1600s, pirates were a real problem, and they came ashore at Praia Bodeira and Arrifana, kidnapping many locals and selling them into slavery in the far-off markets of Algiers. That must have been an horrendous journey in the depths of those ships. The fort of Arrifana was constructed to combat the scourge and to protect the fishing port, which has actually been built in 1516. That's really old if you think about it. That little port, 500 years, over 500 years old. Wow. When you look at Aljezur, you can see it's almost been split into two. So the original village is here on the hill, and then after the earthquake in 1755, the town was really badly damaged, and Bishop Francisco Gomes de Avelar created a new church on the fields to the east, and that's where the new town has been built up around it. Fascinating. There's a lot to do and see in Aljezur. You can visit all the old historical buildings like the old church, the new church, a lot of museums, a lot of pottery galleries, art studios, etc. all around. So just walk around, you can find there's too numerous to mention here. But if you're not into history or art, just relax with some lunch in the square and experience life passing you by. I did, and Mara and I had a nice little curry and other things in the square. It was really quite fun. But if you live here on a permanent basis, you can head over to the municipal swimming pool and the sports centre, which are two separate buildings, and there are tons of different classes and sports hosted there. For example, Pilates, senior gymnastics, personal training, and the two halls are also available for hire, so you can start your own club if you want. Football fields are a great place to pick up a game or watch your kids compete, and they're located just southwest of the town. Walking, hikes abound, and you can join a group or do it yourself. You can check out the Via Algarviana, which actually starts all the way in the east on the Spanish border and it finishes up in Sagres. and comes through down here. And the Rota Vicentina, which is this beautiful trail heading north all the way along the coast, like 300 kilometers up the coast. But obviously there's lots of other little trails and walks that you can do. Surfing is really big around here, and you can join a wealth of surf schools on the beach or enjoy a surf guide if you're intermediate or experienced, and they can take you around the different breaks in the Algarve and show you all the secret spots. Stand-up paddle is not as big around here, but you can definitely do it. There's some fantastic breaks, and I've paddled a lot around here. I also met up with my buddy Gaylord, who's running Sigma Sup School. He's a French guy who's relocated down to the Algarve quite a few years ago. He does training weeks with international SUP pros down here, and also you can just do a SUP camp, come along and paddle for a week, and he'll take you around to all the breaks and show you exactly what's going down. I met up with him. Here he is.
So hi guys, I'm Gaylord from Sigma Sup School. We are based in Aljezur since 4 years now. We are waiting for you to spend time with you on the water, like doing SUP touring, or why not a SUP surfing camp.
Excellent. And do you do from beginners to intermediate to advanced?
We do all the levels. No worries, we can show you all the tips you need to push your level.
All right, shopping and medical in Aljezur is not that extensive, but right in the center of the town, there is an Intermarché, which is we get all your goods, and there's a spa a little bit further east, and on the west is a fresh market. Now, with medical, there's a vet in the southwest, and also there's a pharmacy. All the rest for your hospital needs, you'll need to go to Lagos. Just so you know, there's also a government health center here in Aljezur, the Centre Saúde. So Mara, this is your school. This is brilliant.
It used to be, yeah. I went 4th grade on. I went to the school, 4th to 9th grade.
Awesome. Due south of Aljezur, there is the Aljezur International School, and you can see more information on that in my international schools video. But now with real estate, what I thought I'd do is I'd drive through Aljezur, and unfortunately I had to tape my camera to my mirror so you can see a little bit of it hanging through, but I'm sure it'll give you a good picture of what it's like to drive through Aljezur. Now I'm coming in from the south angle, and as I go I'm going to talk about real estate. So I compared the real estate here to Lulé, and I was amazed at the difference. The average price of a 2-bedroomed house, not an apartment, in city centers of Lulé versus Aljezur, there was a marked difference between the two. So in Lulé, a fair market price for a 2-bed house, about 100 square meters, was 245,000 euros. And in Aljezur, the fair market price for the same thing was 366,000 euros. I was quite shocked with those prices. It was also interesting to note that in Lulé, there are an average of 8 listings per property versus 4 in Aljezur. So it's obviously a much more competitive market in Lulé. And the average time on the market for all these properties was about 9 months, which also surprised me. I thought that'd be a lot less. But look, I'm not a real estate professional, but it is certainly fascinating to uncover this data and understand a bit more about it. But if you'd like to chat to a real professional, my real estate broker is standing by. So just fill in this form and she'll get back to you in a few days because she's a pretty busy lady. But if you're not ready to speak to anyone just yet, check out the market with the online platforms like idealista.pt, and there's a ton of others. And I've made quite a few videos about those. So I hope that this video has been hugely instructive in understanding Aljezur, because it's a really beautiful area. I mean, I just love the way the village is laid out, geographically. It's a beautiful little bowl. And there are some fascinating beaches and things close by. So I hope to spend more time in Aljezur. So I hope you do too. Let me know if you need anything, and thanks again for watching. AlgarveAddicts.com. Samara, now that we're out of the wind, I just want to say thank you so much for showing me around your hometown, man.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Anytime.
It's been fun.